welcome to the Ghost News Network. This is the week of February 22nd, 2015. And as always, I am Dimitri Haratos along with
Michael Carnito.
So for those that don't know who we are, what we do, we're Long Island Paranormal Investigators, and this is our weekly radio show / podcast that we put on YouTube. And we talk about urban myths and legends, and this week we're going to be talking about the Vermont Police Academy. We have a definition of a week that we go over, and sometimes we mix it up and do theories. But this week we'll be talking about orbs, and then hopefully after that we can have a quick little discussion about false evidence and people not being able to tell the difference between dust and true orbs and things like that.
Sounds good.
Then we're going to have an equipment review, and this isn't really a physical piece of equipment that you take outside, but just something that I think every investigator should have in their equipment case.
Sure.
Is investigation field reports. This week in paranormal history, February 21st of 1862, Battle of Valverde takes place. And then we have a few fan questions to answer. And then we're going to be going over our Lippy evidence for the night. Awesome. So that's what the show is ahead of us. But for the moment, let's go to Mike and say, what's new at Lippy?
What do we got new? Well, we replaced our motion sensor IR digital camera. The one that we bought a while ago, just it was malfunctioned. It just wasn't working right. So we replaced it. Our new write-up will be on our website shortly. It's a lot easier to use than the one we originally had. And this Friday we'll be using it in the field. So I'm curious to see how well it works. We have a pretty big, important house investigation this Friday night coming up. So yeah, we'll get back to you and talk to you about how well it worked, so on and so forth. We're looking into picking up. We just purchased a full spectrum digital camera. So I was looking them up on eBay as well, and the same guy that does the conversion for this full spectrum that we bought, he also does a IR infrared conversion on the exact same camera. So we're looking into picking up one of those. I think the cost on that's like $150, which really isn't bad at all. So it's a refurbished Nikon, and then with the IR conversion. So we're looking into doing that. We're looking to start using the Echo Vox in the field. We just bought a Verizon or LG phone, Android phone. So we got to get that hooked up first and then download the app for Echo Vox, and we'll probably start using that in the field. So we'll let you know how that goes. I have seen it used in the field. I have seen a couple sessions done with it. It's pretty impressive. It's interesting. It's a little different than the PSP-7 Spirit Box. The PSP-7 Spirit Box runs AM and FM signals. This basically takes sounds of words and puts them together, and it does it on an echo base. So it's pretty interesting. I've seen some interesting things with it. There's been times where I've seen the Echo Vox used, and you question it, when you're getting answers, and the person will just be like, all right, I'm going to stop asking questions right now and end the session. So ends the session, restarts it up, and there's nothing. They'll let it run for a couple minutes, and you don't hear anything. And then he says, all right, my name is Mike. What can you tell me your name? Bam. Starts to say a name. And this thing will be running for a couple minutes without him saying anything. So it's interesting. It definitely interests our group, and we're going to start using it and let everyone know our feedback with using the device. So we also, towards the end of our season, we got the Obelisk 4. We've only used it like twice in the field so far. I'm not impressed yet, but I'll give it a shot. I have to see what it's all about. It's got many different modes on there, so I kind of want to work with each one to see which ones work better and what the deal is with it, what it's actually picking up. Is it running off of EMF, static, radio frequency? Which one, So that's something where it's going to take a little bit of time for us to kind of figure that out. So, but yeah, otherwise, I'm trying to think. We just updated our department manual, so That's going on. We're doing a lot of in-house training right now in the group. Give the organization, everyone working really hard in our organization, getting done on training and completing a lot of equipment exams. So give a shout out to everyone. They're really busting their ass, getting everything done. Also to the tech guys of the crew. They're doing an awesome job setting up. A lot of these guys are fairly new in setting up tech. And they're doing an awesome job. And then, Hanson and William, you guys been on a couple cases together, and you really pulled it off. I'm really impressed with what you guys know in such a short period of time when it comes to tech stuff. So, definitely give a shout out to those guys. They're doing really well. So, we have our YouTube page that's up and running well. We'll be adding once the season, starts to warm up a little bit in the springtime, we're going to be shooting a whole bunch of new documentary sites. My goal is to try to push one out a month. If we can do 2 a month, we'll do 2 a month if we can. But I really want to start giving everyone, kind of opening up our website a little bit more. We have a great website. We have the sites where you guys hear about where we investigate. You could see the photo of the place. You could read the history and haunted history of it. We're going to try to add more to it. Now you're going to visually see through video. You really get that enhancement feature where you're not just looking at a picture, wow, this is the location. You're going to get your daytime shots, your investigation shots. So it kind of really brings a whole different outlook on our website and everything. So we're really excited about getting that started. We're working
to warm up.
Get the damn snow off the ground. We're working on our e-store as well. We're revamping the entire e-store, so that should be up and running probably in less than 2 months. We'll, we're definitely gonna be working on that. We have a lot of old items we're looking to just sell off. So, if you happen to check it out, once we get all the info of the store, we'll give you the address of the page and. If you feel like, hey, I want to buy 3 of these, but I don't like the price, throw us an email. We'll hook you up. We're looking to clear it out. So we'll definitely work with pricing and everything on everything we got up there. So we're looking forward to doing that. Bunch of investigations coming up, bunch of trips coming up. So we're getting really excited to start going back out.
Busy.
Yeah, we're busy. Good so,
stuff.
But yeah, I think that's about it. That's what's going on right now. Until next week.
Yeah. It'll probably be a lot of the same. We'll still be training.
Yeah, of course.
But, so. But all right, moving on, we have our urban myth and legend, which is the Vermont Police Academy. And,
okay.
Yeah.
So, Vermont Police Academy, brief history. In 1907, the site was built as a sanatorium for patients that had tuberculosis. The East Cottage was the place where female patients had slept and spent most of their time. The West Cottage was for males. The main building was more the home of hospital functions. The 2 porches, or bridges, as they are sometimes called, are long corridors that connect the main buildings to the cottages. They have windows all along each side, and they would put patients out there for air and sunlight, thinking it would help the TB. This location was chosen as the building site for the sanatorium because it was supposedly so sunny and they thought it would help the patients. It was closed down in 1967 when a vaccine was finally discovered for TB. In 1971, the building was purchased by Vermont State and turned into a police academy. The buildings are run as a police academy, but the East Cottage is used as a firefighter's academy as well. Haunted history. There are many reports over the years of a former nurse that is said to be wandering the hospital, claims of a nurse going to treat people as they are sleeping at night. There are also claims of hearing footsteps, doors opening, banging, and other noises throughout what was the hospital part. Some claim of hearing screams in the night. There are also claims of hearing people whisper and traveling cold spots in corridors with no windows, and they are never in the same place. So, interesting location. I think you've been in this location.
I investigated this location.
I have not, but you have, so go for it.
long time ago. Galaxy far away. I was back when I was in New England Paranormal. A buddy of mine who was in the police department, Dave Manch, shout out to you, and got us to investigation. We were able to get in there and investigate the police academy. We didn't get too much, just some odd things here and there, but it was an excellent investigation. Just a lot of history there, cool place to be, and stuff like that. It's nice to, it's a police academy now, but it's nice to actually openly investigate a sanitarium.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or at least the one that once was. But really cool place. So, obviously you can't go over there. It's a police academy, so I would not recommend trying to sneak on or anything like that, because you will get caught. These people are constantly there. So, so that is the Vermont Police Academy. Really cool location. So check it out. Next is the definition of the week, and that is an orb. Now, we get a lot of questions about orbs and things like that. Happens constantly. We get tons of emails about pictures with weird streaks and videos. I mean, I know just in the past 2 weeks alone, I've probably answered a dozen emails about orbs and different footage that I had to look at and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is give you a definition of what an orb is. And then we'll talk a little bit about what false evidence can be when it comes to orbs. So orbs appear to be a form of energy of an unknown origin. An orb can take different shapes. They can also be seen by the naked eye. But most of the time, you only get orb sightings in photographs and on videotapes, which is VHSs. They seem to defy gravity and change direction quickly. They also seem to twinkle. The presence of people make them react. They appear both indoors and outdoors. False orbs tend to be transparent, pale white, or blue. Real, genuine orbs tend to appear dense or bright on film. To increase the probability of you getting a photograph of a genuine orb, it is good to take the photograph at the same time as other unusual phenomena are being experienced, such as sharp changes in temperature, an increase in electromagnetic energy. In a genuine orb, there is a nucleus. It has concentric circles or bands within it, and it can be active in the visible realm, but more active in infrared. They appear abundantly in supposed haunted locations, but drops of rain, specks of dust, insects, reflections, as well as many other things can be mistaken for orbs. So that's the definition of an orb. And let's talk a little bit about some false evidence. Just as an example, I got a video clip this week of somebody that thought they caught something weird.
Okay.
And it was this video clip of this bug. It was a bug. I'm just going to...
Right.
Spoiler alert. And it was weird, and it looks interesting. You know, to somebody that doesn't know, they don't know. It's this weird yellow streak that's kind of like going across or not yellow, but highlighted because of the reflection off the bug.
Right.
And, people think that these are orbs, and people take pictures in old dusty rooms, or they're sneaking into, Kings Park, kicking up dust, taking pictures, and thinking that these could be paranormal. They are not. As Mike has said numerous times in the past, orbs are a natural phenomenon. Electricians see them. Sometimes they'll pour out of faulty wiring and outlets and stuff like that. So those are what orbs are. Fake orbs, really just got to watch out for it. Make sure you know what dust is. If you're not sure, also if you're going out on a day where it's misty, if you were to go outside today, for example, it's not raining out, but with all the rain we just had and stuff like that, you may be able to pick up water vapor in the air, because guess what? It's 40 degrees and some of this snow is melting. And so your naked eye doesn't see the water raising up to the clouds, but it does, and that's exactly what happens, and you could be catching that as well. So that's why it's another great example why we don't really investigate outside during this time of year. It's too cold, it's heavy on the equipment, you're going to catch your breath, it's going to make it look like a mist, and you're going to get a lot of false positives. So you just want to look out for that. If you have any questions, you can shoot any of us an email at LI Paranormal Investigators. It can be either Mike or Demetrius, either one of us, for any questions about orbs. If you want to know more about it, you can check out our website at www.liparanormalinvestigators.com. Anything you want to add?
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed something.
I do actually want to add something that a lot of people don't look into and don't realize. We've actually experienced this at one of our locations at Suffolk County Potter's Field. We were out there in the woods. There was like these blue and red glowing balls just floating around, and really cool. We had no idea what it was at the time, and then when we did our research on it, we found out that it's a phenomenon called It A Wisp, and it's all it is balls of gas, and the gases are the different colors that you see. Could easily be mistaken for paranormal activity, in this case orbs. But yeah, I mean, you got to really look into what you're seeing and what you're picking up, especially on DVR footage. Time and time again, I don't know how many times I see this, and a lot of times when we're doing house investigations, the homeowner will come over and look at our DVR monitor, and you see something, shoot across the screen, a little, circle, transparent ball, and they're like, "Oh, what was that?" I'm like, "It's just dust." And they're like, "Yeah, but there's, we clean the house. It's not a dust-free zone. It's not a clean room. And if it's not a clean room, therefore there's dust in the house. And I don't care how much of a neat freak you can be. I don't care if you dust every day. There's dust around. It's flying around all the time.
Especially if you dust every day, because you're not going to catch everything."
Exactly. Just keep a lookout. I mean, time and time again, I see photos. I think a lot of cameras nowadays, when you buy a new camera, Nikon, I know for a fact that Nikon and Canon actually are putting in their manuals about the transparent balls. And all it is dust, pollen, water vapor. Yeah. It's actually in their camera manual. They actually put it in there because many people are contacting the camera manufacturers, and they done their research. They build these cameras. It's their job. This is what they do. So they know what they're talking about. You can't, as the paranormal community, and as much as everyone wants to believe that the majority of the orbs are paranormal and spirits, these are people that manufacture the cameras that you're using. And they're telling you this is what it is. And there are people out there that just don't believe it. Well, shame on you. I don't know what to say. I mean, is orb phenomena real? Yeah, scientists have proven them. They have proven that it's balls of energy. With energy cannot be created nor destroyed. The question on hand is, where does it come from? What is it? Is it a ghost? Is it, that's the question, and we don't know. We just don't know yet. That's pretty much it. And you gotta be a little critical on your evidence when you get it. And I know I'm very critical on our evidence when we get it in here. People, "Oh, what's that?" This is what it is. You got to shut it down sometimes. I mean, I go to conventions, and it's pretty bad what I see. Unfortunately, and if you want to be taken serious as a paranormal investigator, make sure you're hard on your evidence and you know what you're talking about. Have stuff to back that up. That's the biggest thing. I mean, that's really all I can say about orbs. I'm sure there's many people out there that disagree with what I'm saying, but that's fine. You can disagree with people that are in the science field that have PhDs, and they'll tell you. You have people that work for Nikon and Sony and Canon that build these cameras, and they're telling you this is what it is. And
they have to put it in their manuals.
You want to argue with them? All right, well then. You got no claws, all right, no, I'll just walk away from that conversation, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But that's it. That's orbs for you.
Yep. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
We had a lot of emails with that. And, we don't mind going through and helping out and educating the people and stuff like that. So if you have any pictures that you're not sure about and you want to send them to us, feel free. Right. We will kindly look them over and give you our expert opinion on them.
But if you're asking for our opinion, we're going to give you our opinion on it.
It's going to be honest.
Bottom line, it's going to be an honest opinion, whether you like it or not. I mean, some people when they first take photos, even groups starting out, you don't know. When we started out in 2003, the first time we got that stuff in film, we had no idea. It took some time to research it, and we figured it out. But, I mean, understand, if you're new at the field, you don't know, you got to learn it, that's fine. But be open to the answers, when somebody tells you something, and especially when we get emails. There's times where we get emails from people all the time. We tell them what it is. It's clearly dust. They don't want to hear it. Yeah. They'll go back at us, and it's like, all right, well, you asked for my opinion, I'm giving it to you, It is what it is. I mean, bottom line.
All right. Moving on. Mike, tell us about a investigation field report.
Investigation field reports.
That's your baby.
Oh yeah, this is something I started since day one. And as an investigation team out there, if you don't do this, I don't understand. Don't call yourself a group then. Field reports. If you're taking equipment out, whether it be scientific equipment, you're talking EMF, temperature gauges, Geiger counters, radio frequency meters, audio, video, photo, even if you're a psychic-based group and you don't use any equipment, just your psychic impressions, you have to fill out a field report. There has to be some type of report of what you are feeling or what you are getting on equipment during an investigation, even if it's nothing. If you get nothing at all, write that down. It's important to keep a log and a report of each investigation that you do, because you never know what type of reference you're going to need in the future. And that's clear as day. Was it 2 years ago you gave me a phone call? And you're like, I need you to go in the files, the field report files. Bring it up to the computer, go into Mount Misery Road. Click on that. Tell me what month our evidence was coming in at. We were hitting close to 95%. All of our evidence was coming in September. And if it wasn't for our field reports and our database, how long did that really take for me to do when you called me that day? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, bam, done. I had the answer right then and there. If you don't have field reports set up like that, you're never going to know.
Then we set up an overnight that had one of the coolest experiences you're ever going to have in the field.
And it went back a week later. It was just, it's very important, And if you guys are unsure of how do I do a field report? What's my guideline? I don't even know where to start. That was the biggest thing with us was, where do we start? All right, I have all this equipment. How do I do this? How do I set up a field report now? And I read a couple of paranormal one-on-one books, and they had some ideas in the back of the books, which I got a couple of ideas that, I'm like, all right, well, this is interesting, but I want it to work for us. And I tweaked it, and I created our own field report. Anybody out there that has a group, looking to start a group, you need an idea for a field report, throw me an email, mike@liparanormalinvestigators.com. I will send you the attached file. I don't care. You can use the exact same one we have, tweak it to your liking. I don't care. It's not like a confidential document. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Use it. Utilize it any way you want. Because it's important to set these field reports up, especially if, say if you're in contact with another team and there's a team that starts up in Long Island. And they start investigating, and they start doing some field reports, and they decide to contact us and say, hey, we investigated this place called Hanging Tree. We just got some crazy evidence. Have you guys ever gotten anything there? And we could pull up our field reports and look it up and say, see if it's not even just our group, but their group, see what month they got their stuff in. When did they get it? Maybe it coincides with something that we've caught, and now we know when we can go back there, and it's all about working together and getting that information out there. So, like I said, if anybody needs any ideas of how to start a field report, feel free to email us, and we'll send you the attached file, no problem. So that's very important.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
It is important. All right, so next we are moving on to This Week in Paranormal History. This is a mouthful. So history. February 21st, 1862 was the Battle of Val Verde. Confederate troops under General Henry Hopkins Sibley attacked Union troops commanded by Colonel Edward R.S. Canby near Fort Craig in New Mexico Territory. The first major engagement of the Civil War in the far west. The battle produced heavy casualties, but no decisive result. This action was part of a broader movement by the Confederates to capture New Mexico and other parts of the West, and thereby secure territory that the rebels thought was rightfully theirs, but had been denied them by political compromises made before the Civil War. Furthermore, The cash-strapped Confederacy could use western mines to fill its treasury. From San Antonio, the rebels moved on to southern New Mexico, which included Arizona, and captured the towns of Mesilla and Tucson. Sibley, with 3,000 troops, now moved north against the federal stronghold at Fort Craig on the Rio Grande. At Fort Craig, Canby was determined to make the Confederates lay siege to the post. The rebels, Canby reasoned, could not wait long enough before running low on his own supplies. He knew that Sibley did not possess sufficient heavy artillery to attack the fort. When Sibley arrived near Fort Craig on February 15th, he ordered his men to swing east of the fort, cross the Rio Grande, and capture the Valverde fords of the Rio Grande. He hoped to cut off Canby's communication with the force of Yankees out into the open. At the fords, 5 miles north of Fort Craig, a Union detachment attacked part of the Confederate force. They pinned the Texans in a ravine and were on the verge of routing the rebels when more of Sibley's men arrived and turned the tide. Sibley's second-in-command, Colonel Tom Green, filling in for an ill Sibley, made a bold counterattack against the Union's left flank. The Yankees fell back in retreat and headed back to Fort Craig. The Union suffered 86 killed, 160 wounded, and 35 missing out of the 3,100 engaged. The Confederates suffered 31 killed, 154 wounded, and only 1 missing out of 2,600 troops. It was a bloody but indecisive battle. Sibley's men continued up the Rio Grande. Within a few weeks, they captured Albuquerque and Santa Fe, before they were stopped at the Battle of Glorieta Pass on March 28th. So that is the history of Battle of Valverde.
Right.
Now on to the haunted history. Now I just want to give a shout out because this is where I got my information from. I haven't seen any real haunted stuff on this location, but a shout out to the Southwest Ghost Hunters Association. You can check them out. Just Google them and you'll find them there. They investigated the site, and this is where the paranormal claims come from. So credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
Good work to you guys out there. They said they've investigated this site and have had some interesting results. They said the red lights have been spotted on the grounds that are faint and disappear, that when described resembling someone smoking a cigarette. So it'd kind of be like somebody was smoking. They also claim sounds of footsteps can be heard. You can hear voices in the distance, but are too muttered to understand. They say they even saw an unexplained shadow during the night. EMF gauges showed erratic movement and sudden spikes. EVPs have also been picked up from the grounds, and others have claimed to have seen a headless Confederate soldier walking the grounds around dusk time. So
Interesting.
check that out. If you guys are in the Southwest and you want to find where the Battle of Valverde is, I would definitely suggest checking it out. It's
Good
really
stuff.
cool. Yep, very
Not
cool
bad.
stuff. So Nancy's not here today, so we're
Right.
going to have to skip her social street for this evening. But we have a few fan questions that we're going to answer.
Awesome.
And the first one comes from Michelle, and she simply asks, what is one cryptid that you believe to be real and why?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. Uncrypted. If I had to pick one, shit. There's a couple out there. I mean, the three that I'm thinking of, I feel that they're kind of almost on the same level. But if I had to choose one of those, I'd probably go with Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra has very, very big in the South, especially in Latin America. More Latin America than South America, but Latin America seems to be where it's at. There
There's been
are
an increase of sightings in Florida, too, within the past couple of years.
thousands of
Yeah.
cases of the Chupacabra. And what the hell is the Chupacabra for those that don't know what it is? Chupacabra basically means goat sucker. It's some type of cryptid animal, whatever, that attacks goats and sucks the blood out of them. That's pretty much what the Chupacabra is. They claim it to be about 3 foot tall. Almost like, it kind of looks almost like an elf in a way, something like that. But, you know, if you had to mix, like, that's like the height. like an elf size, like 3 feet. The looks, I remember there was a photo that I saw years ago, probably back in 2004, 2005. Somebody drew what a bunch of people saw, and it almost looked like it had claws, three, like had hands and feet. You know, it walked like it wasn't like a 4-legged animal. It walked on 2 feet, just like we do, kind of. And this thing had, for the hands, it had like 3 claws. Had a mouth with sharp teeth, you know, and the eyes were kind of, I want to say maybe like if you took like a horse's eye and you made it about 3 times as big as that. It's kind of like what it looked like, and that was really it. But I don't know. I think that's probably the one I would go with. I don't know. What about you?
Sasquatch.
Yeah,
and the reason why,
list,
and not that I think it's everywhere. I think it exists in parts of Canada and in Washington State, where Mount St. Helen is. I think that's where they are hanging out and hiding, because it is not really Mount St. Helen. I don't believe is government land. I believe it's Native American territory.
Okay.
And the Native Americans don't go up there for respect of the Sasquatch that live in that region.
Right.
And from what I understand, that's where most of the sightings tend to come from. I mean, now these days everybody sees Sasquatch, but I think if you're looking to find where they would be, my guess would be Mount St. Helen in Washington State, because people don't really go there. I mean, people hike up there and they get sightings and stuff like that, but it's not really a heavily monitored place because it's not covered by the government, and there's that Native American section where they don't want to go up there out of respect, and that's why, and that's why they don't go up there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think if they exist anywhere, that's where it would be.
Interesting.
But I would have to say Sasquatch, Wendigo, Shaggy Man, things like that. I think they're all kind of the same breed.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say was Loch Ness monster.
Nessie.
Yeah. I mean, you know, not for nothing, but I think that's more likely than the other 2 that we mentioned. Only because if you date back years ago, many years ago, it did exist. It's just a matter of, is it still here? You know, where Sasquatch and Chupacabra are myths, technically. They are just myths. Loch Ness, you know, it was a creature that was here a long, long time ago. And the question basically states, is it still here? It's kind of like Megalodon.
Yeah, look at the colossal squids and stuff like that. I mean, the colossal squid was a cryptid until the longest time, and now it's just a zoological creature.
Yeah,
so.
Now it's pretty crazy. So, but you never know. I mean, that's why there are groups out there. There are groups out there. You can call them, I guess, cryptozoology groups. They're listed on the paranormal groups as well that do study a lot of this kind of stuff, and it's an interesting study. It definitely is, and I think that
I'd like definitely to try it one time.
Yeah, it needs to continue. You know, it is important that, you know, people know the truth. You have all these myths out there and all these legends. You know, is there any truth behind them?
Especially when, like, you're talking about Nessie and stuff. The waters are so deep, we haven't even explored the surface of the bottom of our oceans and stuff like that. Yep. God only knows what exists down there. You know, so. As technology increases and we go further down, we're going to start discovering more things. And one of those things that we may discover could just so happen to be one of these cryptids.
Right.
So, yeah, that is the first question.
Good.
Second question comes from, I think she's from Google Plus or something. Nancy sent me this question this week. Comes from Jen C. She's wondering, what's your most haunted place on Long Island and why?
It's an interesting question. I'm going to break it down in the top 5. I have 3 listed on the page. I had 2 open. Number 1, I think, hands down, Mount Misery Road. I think the amount of evidence we caught there throughout the years, I think Mount Misery, hands down, number 1.
No argument from me.
Number 2, South Coast Manor. I think we have gotten enough evidence there to call that place haunted as well. So I think that's number 2. There's some stuff's going on there that we can't explain. Number 3, I think Hanging Tree. I think Hanging Tree is up on that list.
Oh yeah,
we've caught enough stuff there as well where I would be comfortable enough to say That's definitely one of those that are haunted. 2 more left. What can you think of? I don't want to just go out there and flat out say Kings Park. I know a lot of people that live on Long Island say, they always ask Kings Park Psych Center, Kings Park Psych Center. And I'd have to say, I mean, it's lacking the evidence. Creepy, yes, but lacking the evidence. Have I had experiences there? Yes, I have that I can't explain. But I just don't feel it's as active as other locations. That's my personal opinion. I don't even think it's in the top 5. Might not even make the top 10 list for us. We've done tons of investigations.
There we haven't caught.
And I've caught more evidence at other locations that I've been to less times than Kings Park. We 2 years ago, when Kings Park was pretty much a free-for-all, I mean, you could literally walk into any building you wanted to without any security. Our team was there 4 times a week, and they were doing on a quiet night, on an average night, they would put in 7 to 8 hours there. There was nights where they would be doing 18 hours straight up, and they would tell us every week, "Yo, man, we just did an 18-hour tunnel mission, 18 hours in the tunnels straight, 18 hours, or we did 12 hours in building 7, 21, 22, and 7, and I always asked, where's the evidence? And it was the lack of, to be honest with you.
If we were going to find something, that would have been the time to find it.
Yeah, I mean, they had some creepy stories, door closed or whatever it may be, but evidence-wise with video, audio, and camera, nothing. I'd never got anything from that. So they did have other equipment out that never went off. So I really don't even think it would make the top 10 list.
Trying to think.
And I know a lot of people might think, wow, that's crazy. And just because a place looks scary doesn't mean it's haunted.
Right.
2 more in a top 5 list.
If you broke Mount Misery up into 3 sites, this would have been
I
a lot
wouldn't.
easier.
I would keep it as 1 in this case.
Let's see.
Ronkonkoma County Park. There is stuff going on there. We've gotten some interesting evidence from that location.
Had some crazy experiences there.
We have.
Thinking I'm being followed by someone and
yeah.
hiding in a corner and hearing somebody coming. Sounds like they're coming and nobody's there. And then I back the whole group up into another corner. And then I think I see someone coming down that path. And there's nowhere to go. And nobody comes.
Yeah.
But you just keep hearing the footsteps coming towards you. That place is...
Yeah, I definitely think that
people I know people in the group used to go there all the time for training, but it's such an excellent location.
It is.
And I'd put that up there, Rocco County Park.
I think my fifth would probably be one we haven't done in a long time, and that's Suffolk County Potter's Field. We used to go there a couple times a year. And the amount of times we've been there, a lot of it's, we really haven't probably caught maybe 2 EVPs there the entire time. Nothing really on video, nothing on photos, but we had our Geiger counter, our civil defense Geiger counter that detects gamma radiation maxed out at that location for no reason, an erratic movement. I actually saw something through our night vision scope. I saw what looked like a child. And when I saw it, 2 of the people that I was with, 2 of our investigators, saw something moving around in the bushes that was the same height as a child. So that was really interesting. Shadow people, many times at that location as well. We've had hot spots and cold spots. I've had unusual EMF hits in the middle of the cemetery for no reason whatsoever. And I'm not talking about the K2. I'm talking about the digital EMF, the EMF cell sensor. Something where the cell sensor was placed on the ground and we were backed away from it and you could see the light going off. So this is stuff where that location would probably be my number 5.
Yeah,
That's me personally.
I was thinking about Fort Salongo because I know we caught... So I think we had a Geiger kind of go off there.
We had the Geiger go off
shadow
there.
People there.
Didn't we catch
And
gunfire? I thought we caught gunfire.
Was that there, or my other place I was thinking was maybe Setauket Village Green?
Setauket Village Green. And that place we've only started.
We just started investigating,
right.
So yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'd put one of those in my top 5. It wouldn't be much different from yours.
Right.
It's Mount Misery for sure, Sag Manor, Hanging Tree, Ronco County Park. Those are excellent locations.
Absolutely.
And Suffolk County's Pottersfield, I wasn't there when you guys had those experiences.
Cool place. Really cool place. We're going to try to get there this year. That's one of the places I would really like to.
I think I've been there before, but we didn't have anything happen the night we were there, I think. We went a few years back, right?
Suffolk County?
Like back in 2008
yeah.
Something like that. I've been there before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't really have anything happen. But I don't know. If I were to drop one, I'd probably say Fort Salonga for the same reason the Geiger counter going off and stuff like that. That thing 12 years has moved 3 times, you know?
Right.
So, but yeah, so that is that. And then last question is, why do you think ghosts are earthbound? It's from Lenny.
Good question. Why earthbound? Well, and I'm assuming you're comparing it, why earthbound and not heaven. We'll start with that first. I believe that there's a couple of things going on here. Number one, when somebody passes away, say if they pass away in a tragic event, maybe they just don't know they're dead. And that's where they're kind of in limbo. You know, they don't know they're dead, so they're still here. That's partially one of the things. Another thing could be that maybe you're attached to a specific object or location. That's another reason why.
If you want to consider the world between living and dead, purgatory.
Purgatory, sure.
If you want to go the religious route,
yep,
it's another possibility.
Absolutely.
And I'm not convinced to say all ghosts are earthbound. Maybe some want to go check out Mars or something.
Yeah,
they're not bound to the same constraints that we are. That we're aware of.
You can't go there, right? Who's to say you can't go to another planet? I don't know. I'm only speaking of what I can tell you from our experiences. Residual haunting. When you're living, you're putting an impression wherever you may be. And I always use Gettysburg as this example. Because it's probably one of the biggest known residual haunts in the world. And the whole, basically the storylines is when people go out there, they'll say, oh wow, they had an awesome reenactment today. And they'll go and, tell the guards or whatever, and they're like, there was none scheduled for today. And they're like, yeah, but we saw, both sides firing and everything, and there was no reenactment scheduled. And what that basically is whatever happened in time, that got burnt into that location. It's an imprint in history. And whatever the mechanism is to release that info, it basically plays like a videotape. And you see an entire battlefield scene that's not really happening. So that's another reason why that's earthbound. I'm sure in this case you're talking about, obviously, intelligent hauntings. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Maybe unfinished business. Maybe you were working on a project of some sort and you didn't finish it and you want it completed, so you want to come back and try to finish that. Or maybe it was a murder case where, you got murdered and you want to try to help people solve your case. So you come back and you try to, get the living to seed certain messages or whatever to try to solve that case, to put you at ease to move forward. I can keep going on and on about it, but these are just some scenarios and situations why a ghost may be earthbound. So yeah, there you have it.
Very cool. Good stuff. Good questions, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you very much
good,
for those.
very good.
Last but not least, we are going to be doing our Lippy Evidence Vault. And this piece of evidence was caught not even a month ago. It was from a house case that we did recently. It was from January 30th, and very cool location and stuff like that. Can't give out too many details about it yet.
Yeah, it's confidential.
But I will be playing this EVP so you guys can hear the coolness that we caught.
Awesome.
I want to wallpaper this entire room. Hold on.
You want a wallpaper?
Yeah, I want something in, all over the place. So, you have an electrosmog. Where is it?
There it is, right there. Class A EVP saying yeah. That was me and Mike in the house. We were going upstairs, and our psychics, Shannon and I believe Teresa, were saying they had some really weird feelings in that room. And so we were saying that Mike was saying that he wanted to wallpaper the room with equipment, cover everything so we didn't miss anything. And as we were discussing it, there's just a voice that is clearly not him and clearly not me because I'm high-pitched voice, very, very effeminate. but it's coming over and it's saying yeah, and it's very bassy and stuff like that. But I will play it for you guys one more time.
I want to wallpaper this entire room. Hold on.
You want a wallpaper?
Yeah, like I want something in like all over the place. So, you have an electric smog. Where is it?
Yep.
So that is it. It's a really cool EVP. Like I said, it was recent. I think 2014 and now into 2015. So far, we're pretty high on the catching evidence list for the year.
Yeah, we are. We definitely.
But and all we've been doing is house cases. So I'm starting to see, and I'm wondering if there's a pattern that as these years have gone on, we're catching more and more stuff. It seems like, and I'm wondering if there's going to be like a moment where it just kind of falls down, falls to the wayside, or
keep
psychic kinetic energy is just going to keep growing, as they say in Ghostbusters.
Imagine
this
Who knows?
Twinkie is the size of the electromagnet.
Yeah, right? Oh, shit.
But, yeah, we'll end up with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, right?
Or Melissa McCarthy. One or the other. But anyway, that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us here on the Ghost News Network. And we will be back next week with a new episode. So take care, everyone. Have a good night, and peace out.
Have a good night.